We have some minutes in front of us, January 11th, it looks like. 2 pages long. Did anybody, I guess we'll, consider a motion to approve them, and then we'll see if there's any changes that need to be done, but.
I move. A second.
Motion, did anybody see anything that, they needed or wanted to correct, or did they look solid as is? Really good to me. Alright, well, let's take a vote on that. All those in favor of approving the January 11th, 2024 minutes, can I say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstain? Or opposed? Okay. All those minutes approved. So we don't really have anybody here to make public comments unrelated to the agenda, do we? So, shall we move on? Within communications, just jump down to general business then? Unless there's some
Sure.
things that you would like to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to go right into it.
Okay.
So our first topic that's listed is regarding the pool. I have lightly been involved with these discussions and the renovation idea. It's really conceptual at this point. But the idea right now is to hopefully in the future put together a plan where we could change the concession area and implement that space as a working space to create a family changing area. And then we would then, in theory, have access to the pool deck from that location with the intent to move the concession area near where the check-in station is located. So you have a dual purpose. And there's some vacant space that could be occupied to allow for those two types of services to be available inside of the basket and check-in station. So don't really know at this point what the costs are going to be. We'll probably have to look for some grant funding and what have you, but we've acknowledged that that's a desire that the community would like to see fulfilled, and so we've been working diligently with an architect. I can't tell you the name of it because that's been coordinated through the community development division, but it's looking like a hopeful and promising project. Once we have a final concept, I'll bring it to the park board so that you guys can see the vision, and then, like I said, we would then look for funding that could supplement that kind of change.
Is there anything else you're looking at doing in the pool house at the same time? With the
We talked
showers,
about,
bathrooms?
yeah, we talked about redesigning the, so if you do any changes or renovations to the facility, you have to implement whatever the current requirements are. So we would have to address some ADA needs inside the bathrooms as well as the showers. And we would probably add some more enclosed changing areas in both men's and women's for additional privacy. But yeah, it's all gonna transform the facility in the end.
Should we assume that any actions that happens for like any renovations would be after the 2024 pool season, presumably at this point?
Oh, certainly,
Yeah,
yes.
so maybe a year out, year and a half out, even.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, it could easily be 2 to 3 years out before you see that transition, but it's a great project, and I think it would address a lot of things that people desire to see have happen there, so. Cool. The next item, I'll just jump right into the next one. In your packet, you'll see that there's a PowerPoint presentation that is available for the public. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody here to comment, but what we need to do to apply for the DNR Trust Fund grant is to open up the meeting for public comment, and then you'll have to close it for public comment. And then, that will be put in the minutes and, added to our, grant application. So what the project is the DNR Trust Fund, grant application, which is due in April. And the map that you see in front of you is the Clay Cliffs, master plan that was approved many years ago. Marlise Manning actually was the one that presented this to the park board. And we would like to see the area of trail be developed ADA compliant, because that would be a requirement by the DNR Trust Fund grant. So where you see the yellow circle where it states you are here, which is near the community pool, you would then follow the dotted line all the way to where you see the red bridge crossover along the creek. So this project is tentatively expected to be a grant application for a total amount of $500,000. $400,000 is available through the grant funding. If you want a closer view as I'm flipping through these, near the back of the PowerPoint, you'll see the phase one noted on there. It's the third sheet to the end. And so like I was saying, it was a $400,000 grant application that we're eyeing up, $100,000 matched by the city. And I think it would be a great improvement to see more usage in that area and have the ability for people to use it in an ADA compliant fashion. So it's a nice piece of property.
Is this particular one requiring a motion to kind of get Michelle what that she needs to be able to?
It wouldn't hurt it to have, like I said, one of the requirements is to do the public comment. So you'll have to do the public comment. So you'll open it up, hit the gavel, and then wait, and then close it, hit the gavel. She'll note what time that took place, and then if someone wants to make a motion to apply for the DNR Trust Fund grant for this project, I'm sure that would be appreciated by the city commission to see that in the minutes, as it has to go to them next.
And I guess we can all technically, I guess we're not really the public, but could those comments be included if there was?
Well, if you're doing a motion to make a recommendation to move forward, your comments regarding the motion would then be included at the minutes at the same time.
Can I ask you a question? Is this sort of going what I call the railroad tracks?
We did that portion already. City staff were able to find the area that you're speaking of.
Okay.
And it goes to, let me see if it's highlighted on here as a specific loop in this plan. It goes to the Brookside Estates. So starting at
Which
Brookside
page are you on?
the master plan map.
The first one? The first
Yeah.
one, okay, got it. Okay.
So if you go to where the Brookside Estates are located, which is the yellow portion of the trail, you'll see down at the bottom says Connected Trails of Brookside Estate. There is a network of trails in this yellow that's been done by city staff because it was already flattened out and raised from what you're speaking to, where the railroads was. And that circles back to the back part of the community pool where it's fenced off. So where we let the water out from the season, the
Yes.
trail starts there,
Okay,
and then it navigates to the Brookside
so
Estates.
it's more north of where I think the railroad trails is. The railroad trails to me is the bottom of my hill.
It's near that, it's north of that, yes.
So, right, so it'd be north of that, okay,
Yes.
got it, okay.
Yep.
Okay,
So the solid black line is
Yes.
natural trail and the dotted lines are paved?
The dotted lines,
Am I reading this right?
I'm not certain what the, the plan is in terms of what kind of,
The dotted
Area
line, that's
free,
for
'cause you can
emergency
use-
vehicles, isn't it?
you could use, you know, like crusher dust or something of that nature. It doesn't necessarily have to be paved.
Just
So
have a clear path.
What makes it ADA compliant?
Well, I mean, the terrain there is, like this, so it would be flattened out. There'd have to be retaining walls put in place. There would have to
Where?
be,
Everywhere? Like
on the dotted line.
Okay,
yes.
on the dotted lines. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the gravel would be just as ADA compliant as like pavement?
So, are you familiar with the network of trails at River Street Park near the river? Not necessarily the paved portion, but the portion near the river.
Not particularly. I
That
mean,
is
I've been
crusher
there.
dust. So it basically turns into a really concrete kind of
Concrete stuff,
dirt
yeah.
that we
It's
can
hard.
use, and that would be in compliance.
It'd be better to have a permeable than an impermeable surface so close to a.
I mean, I'm just more thinking about like how much I hate pavement.
I don't, no one has said to me that they envision that getting paved.
Okay.
And quite frankly, I don't know that that type of application would suit the nature area.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that goes back to like North End Park and the history of that being a supposed nature area and then getting paved. Which I think is great, like that the, you know, the Riverwalk goes through there, but it's also like not a nature area if you pave it, so.
Hindsight 2020, I mean,
Mhm.
there is a network of foot trails inside of all of that wooded area, so it still
There is.
maintains a nature feel when you're inside of it,
Yeah, I
rather
think-
than the outside.
I think a lot of those foot trails got developed after North End Park saw greater development. I mean, I remember riding my bike through some of those trails. There weren't a lot. There's a lot more now.
Yeah.
But
So phase one is not doing anything with the bridge that's by the pool at this point?
That hasn't been designed yet, so I don't have a indefinite
You know which
answer
bridge
for
I'm
you.
talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
That'd definitely be something to consider. I'm glad they're not gonna try to do something on the sandy, what would that be, the north side of the creek, that would just fill in sand with. when
Where are
there's-
you speaking about? I'm
The,
sorry.
the old trail, the only trail that most people use, which is your solid trail.
Going up the hill?
Or just like as soon as you cross the bridge right at the pool and you walk along the creek there, that all.
Oh, that
sandy
one.
and dirt
Gotcha,
trail. I'm
gotcha.
glad they're not considering that one because, you know, when you try to turn something like that into an ADA compliant one, you ruin the area in a lot of
Yeah.
ways for,
I don't think it would get permitted by Eagle, to be
Yeah.
completely honest with you. It's too close to the,
right, close to the creek and
yeah.
it washes out in the spring and so,
Mhm.
that's good.
Heather, I'm sorry, I'm back on the first page,
Okay.
again, okay? You are here, that's the bridge that always sometimes gets washed out because of flooding.
The one behind the pool?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's another bridge that it looks like they're going to do, the first red one onto the left.
there's 3 more actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next one to the left, that's gonna be a new one.
The
It says
red one
develop
that you're,
footbridge for crossing in over creek on
Right.
phase one.
yes,
So that would be a new bridge.
correct.
Okay, got it, okay,
That would be right there across from Clay Cliffs too.
right.
You kind of walk into there, but you just
Right.
have to walk across the creek. And I would predict that that second one is the old railroad grade, that there's a place where the
Yes.
old railroad tracks
Sure,
cross
yes.
the creek, and that seems like it's right off of that trail. And there is a place, I think I can predict where the third bridge is, because there's another area down there that's flat enough to kind of get across.
Mhm.
And it's just right now you can't, it's too deep to kind of get through there.
Right.
No, they're all logical.
Now,
Yeah, they look good.
you know, was it in the fall that they had that fire up and around there?
Yep.
Will this help?
Well, it was in the summertime, actually.
Okay, yeah, you're right, it was summer. What is any of this gonna help with the accessibility for emergency vehicles?
We've already developed that. During the winter, being that it was so mild, we took advantage of the foliage not being up, and we rented some equipment, and we worked with public safety, the police chief, and we went out there with a brush hog, and we developed access.
From the north going
So
down?
where it comes from is, if you look at the master plan map, there is a proposed trailhead access to the north side where we would put in a parking lot, which there is no parking lot there.
At the Pine Avenue?
At Pine Avenue?
At Monroe.
Your own path.
Yep. I remember there used to be like a trail access
Yes.
there when I was a
So
kid.
you can drive a truck
Yeah.
up that hill right there. And staff do drive in the prairie area, and we've done plantings and what have you. And from that particular location where we can drive, we continued on, and wherever it was allowable and the terrain wasn't difficult, we marked where our property was and took a brush hog and made a path. So it goes all the way through the area that is the northeast, heads at the top of the cliffs, going alongside the property line, and then heads north, hugging the property line still. And we are in the process of trying to develop an access point from Madison. But we don't want to encourage people to see an access point that would be available for people to drive in there. So we have gates that used to be in the Hemlock and North End Park areas that are still at the garage. So once we are able to develop an access point from there, we will gate it off.
Yeah. Makes sense. There's a couple natural places for that along Madison. It's just like you said, you kind of have to just get in there and do it, but that's wise.
The city owns land that butts up to Madison.
Yes.
It's past that private property that's in here.
Yeah, it's like I'm always driving past there, and like as a kid, I used to mountain bike back there, and we would get like all the way back to like the pine forest, which has probably never been city property or whatever. And sometimes we'd run out of water, and there'd be a house out there, and we'd be like kids, and we'd be like, "Can we have some water?"
Oh, nice.
And they'd give us some, and then we would like usually just like ride up their driveway and go back Madison. But I have no idea what driveway it was now, and I'm always wondering. I'm like, which house was it? But like, so I know there's a lot of houses
Yeah.
back there, and I wasn't sure exactly how.
Yeah.
Is
So
it
it's
kind
not.
of like a sawtooth almost, our property line, where at one point it gets to Madison, but then there's houses that it goes around?
Well, the property lines are called out on this master map. If you look at it, the box is what
I don't
we
see
own.
Madison on that.
Madison is on the north end of where the property ends. So the lines stop right where the road is. It's just not, the road's just not on the map.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Madison isn't on this map.
No, but it would be like right at the very top.
Yeah, it'd be that one
In
right
theory, it's
across
not on the
top.
map, but that's why it ends. It's because it goes right to the road.
I mean, look, this is somebody else's property right here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So like presumably Madison is up here.
There's
Some-
right of way, of course.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's,
I mean, that's totally different than having property on Madison though, right?
but we can work with the county to have the access from the, and use the right of way to create a drive.
Okay.
So that's just in process right
I
now.
was just curious.
Yeah.
Can you please, I didn't write it down, how much the grant, you ready, the grant for?
The maximum amount you can request is $400,000, and the city would then match 100.
And this wouldn't be happening this year, because if you could only apply for it in April, when,
Correct.
when would you?
So typically you apply by April 1st. They review, then they come back and tell you where you're lacking in points, give you another opportunity to brush up your grant application. Then you submit the changes that could be achievable, and then they review and you get notification in the fall,
Okay, so that we're looking at 25 to do
A year
this.
away.
potentially 25, 26, yes.
Yeah.
Should we,
If you could do the
open up
public,
the public comment?
yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great.
I'll move that.
So 6:50.
So, do I have to?
Yep.
Okay. Open up a public comment period for the DNR Trust Fund grant for Clay Cliffs.
And hearing that there is no one here, I think that you have been able to achieve that, so you're welcome to close it at 6:51.
We'll call it 6:51. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
And like I said, if the board is comfortable with this, and I'm sure the city commission would appreciate, a recommendation to apply for the grant, and that would be helpful for the grant application too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I motion that we recommend a grant application be submitted for the DNR Trust Fund grant.
Second.
Are all those in favor of such a motion to support the application?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstain or opposed? Okay, we'll consider that motion passed.
Perfect.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised unofficially if you see something like the DNR, especially if they kind of have any sense in it, they may kind of give feedback on the thought of doing a sled hill there, you know,
Yeah,
that may be supported, but it's also turtle nesting habitat, so
yeah.
I don't know, you know, if they'll know that, but again, it's still just part, it's just, right?
It's a
just
pretty
a-
illustration to kind of plan off of, so.
Something to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next item is a topic that Foster had shared with Trina, myself, and others, and we thought we would just share that information with everyone as well. Lots of activity taking place out there, as Foster noted, and I don't know what more you want to comment on with that.
Not too much, but I'll just say a few things. For starters, the really heavy snow that we got like a few weeks ago definitely took down some like larger branches and trees out there. We got most of that cleaned up today and yesterday, so the course is actually looking really good. We usually don't get to that until like the summer because we're like, oh, there's too much snow to get out chainsaws, but so that's really good. We also randomly got offered like 4 really nice like 8-foot metal benches that are out in front of Ruby Tuesdays right now because I'm friends with the manager there and his bosses were like, get rid of these benches right away. So that's a great thing for the course.
You're gonna cement them in then?
So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do because they've got like the bolt spot and like I mean they're so heavy duty, like no one's stealing these things. I can't even lift it at all. Like I think they weigh like 300 pounds each at least or something. I don't know. But it would be good just for the longevity of the metal if they could sit on a concrete footing eventually. But my main concern is just because they're so heavy
To get them out there?
to get them away from Ruby Tuesdays before they get scrapped or something. And so I think that the city's gonna help with that. And they're either gonna take them to the course directly or just drop them off at a city garage until we're ready for them and we'll slowly go from there. The numbers in this printout come from a mobile application called UDisc that is probably the most popular mobile app for disc golfers. I've looked a few times, it's hard to get like any exact numbers, but the estimate is something like maybe 1 in 3 to 1 in 5 people use UDisc, and the rest of disc golfers just don't care, don't use it frequently. So if you look at like, and I know that like the west side, which is the yellow and red sheet, is slightly more popular than the east side. So if you look at those numbers, I think it's pretty safe to say that we could probably actually double all of the statistics there. Like if, you know, it says like there were 1,800 rounds played, there was probably over 3,000, which is pretty awesome. You know, I think that a lot of the other information is probably a little bit more accurate. Like we had players from 18 states. So that's probably at least 50% Ferris students, right? That like, oh yeah, they're from Ohio and that's where they registered with UDisc. But at the same time, if you have somebody from out of town that's looking to play disc golf, UDisc is probably how they're gonna find a disc golf course. And so I think that like it's unlikely that we saw visits from many states that aren't listed here, or from farther away. But it's still pretty cool. 22 players from over 500 kilometers or 300 miles away. Over 1,800 rounds played. It's nice to see that the course gets used. I can also say, you only get this information, like it's sent to like the course designer, whoever is listed with UDisc as in charge of the course, which for me, like I got North End, but I don't have the Ferris course. The Ferris course's numbers are like nothing.
Yeah.
It's like 100 rounds were played, and we have like 1,800. And that's because they don't have concrete tee pads, they don't have good signage, they don't have benches, it's not well draining. There's a lot of reasons, but I can say also that the course that recently went in Reed City had even more rounds played than either of our courses. Of course, we have 2 courses, so you could, if you add the 2 numbers together, then we had more than them. I think a lot of that's due to Reed City's course being really new, and so there's a lot of new people to disc golf that in the Reed City area that have gotten excited about it. It's a really short course too over there, so I think it's maybe a little bit more like kid family friendly, and that's gotten a little bit of hype. But I have a lot of concerns with that course in the long term because the tees and baskets are very close to each other, and it's not very spread out, and so I think they're going to have a lot of problems with soil compaction in the long term that we also have issues with, but we just have a lot more land that it's spread out across. So it'll be interesting to see in like the next 5 to 10 years how their course compares to ours in how many people play it and the condition, how well it's maintained. But I'm pretty happy with the maintenance at our course in general.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And we appreciate Leonard always volunteering his time now that he's retired.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you guys recall or not, but we, by his request, and we implemented, we purchased a shed, which is located at North End Park, and a lawnmower. And Leonard's out there nonstop, maintaining and making it beautiful. And it's well received, so we appreciate his volunteer time that he puts towards it.
Yeah, and it shows up in like apps like UDisc too, where people will comment on the course conditions,
Yeah.
you know, and so it's like just letting people know like, oh yeah, this course is flooded or it hasn't been mowed in 5 years, but so you see it happening there where people are like, this course is really well maintained, it was beautiful, it was perfectly mowed, the guy was mowing while I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Foster.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
Be proud. Into the general business, I see,
Oh.
but
There's something else I wanted to talk about, sorry. Has anybody heard anything about foot golf? No?
what?
Foot golf.
No.
So it's like disc golf is like frisbee in golf. Foot golf is like soccer with golf.
yeah, I've seen it.
And apparently it's like a really quickly growing sport. I have not tried it yet, but I grew up playing soccer, so I'm like really excited to play this. Apparently most foot golf courses are installed on ball golf courses where they'll install like 18-foot golf holes on like 9 holes of a ball golf course and then charge you money to play. And it's gotten to the point that there's a company that says that they're like the official foot golf target maker, and it's like $4,500 for like 18 of these like really large cups that you sink in the ground, just like regular ball golf, and some flags and stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous for like 18 pieces of plastic and stuff, but like that's not really that bad in like the big picture either. And I've heard, like I've seen people talking about it in disc golf course design groups that I'm in, where they're saying some people are installing foot golf courses like on top of disc golf courses, or like where, I don't even know how you do this, but they'll plant a basket in the middle of a foot golf cup, which seems like a lot of like trickiness. But like, so I'm really curious to like give it a shot. There's like a 9-hole course that's not on a ball golf course that's like just north of Grand Rapids that I'm gonna go try to play when the weather gets nicer with my sister and girlfriend, and
Do you think there's any place that, on North End Park where you could have a foot
Well, see,
golf?
like that's what I'm trying to figure that out. Is I was thinking I might just take a soccer ball to North End and just play on the baskets anyway. Like I can flick a ball into a basket. Like
Well, these cups you're talking about are holes.
yeah,
Are they like the size of a plastic barrel cut in half and they're sunk in the ground?
pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, more or less, like 2.5 soccer balls
Trying to
width
think
or
of a cheap
something.
way out.
I know. I was thinking the same
I have a
thing. I'm like,
cheapie.
I'm like, they don't tell you. They're like, these are the only official
Yeah,
targets.
official, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but what are their dimensions? Because like, if you tell me their dimensions, I'll figure out a way.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, can you do it in another area away from the disc golf? I mean, do we have the land to do it?
So my impression is that the distance is pretty similar to disc golf. And I think that it's possible that we could probably do something north and south of the parking lot. But I also know there's a lot of like cross country trails through there, and so I just really don't know yet enough about like the activity. Because like my impression so far has been, well, if it's that it really relies a lot more on the ground than disc golf does, right? So that's why it's often on ball golf courses because they have the mowed grass.
And level.
Right, because a little stick will send your ball flying, right? And that's gonna be really obnoxious. But I still wanna try it and like to try to determine whether or not like a public course is something that's feasible or whether you're really better off like playing on like manicured grass, you know, at a ball golf course or something. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there, let people know about foot golf,
That'd be interesting to, yeah.
and that
Have to look it
it's
up.
something that I might try to implement at North End, you know, on the disc golf course or something. I just don't know enough about it yet. I think
I'll
the
go
only way-
play and then let us know how it goes.
Yeah, well, I encourage other people, you know, if you hear about it or, you know, it sounds like fun to
I
explore
heard
it
Falcon
yourself.
Heads for sale.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
know.
That's what came to my head. I was like, I have
Falcon
an
Heads for
idea
sale.
of what it is. I don't want to say.
I don't think I have the money to buy a Falcon Head. The city, if they wanted to buy it.
Oh, jeez. All right, staff reports. Which we don't have any, so. And I don't believe there are any committee reports.
No, but can I request that, that we get the pool committee together to look at the, budget, because you have to get that to to us and the city commission here pretty soon, don't you?
The city treasurer has not began the process of looking at budgets yet. Right now, we're in the,
I don't mean, but, I'm just talking about the rates, I said budgets, if we would change rates,
it is not the intent to change any rates.
okay?
So, I mean, when the season gets closer, I'm sure Josh will have the dates and everything figured out. Right now, he is working with HR to determine staffing and who's coming back.
So we don't have any committee reports, which is nice. Last time we met, did we end up ever taking care of the vice chair, co-chair?
No.
That was still outstanding?
Yeah, did we talk about it?
No, I think that maybe I might have mentioned at the last meeting that we should probably put it on the agenda. But I guess we could technically, if people are willing to, either address it, you know, today or March 14th, just trying to see if somebody wanted to either nominate themselves or nominate somebody else in here and at least have the,
Still a member short too, I don't know.
I mean, if somebody wants to be a vice chair, then by all means,
Yeah.
go ahead and nominate yourself, or if you wanna nominate somebody else, go for it. Totally
Vice chair only helps out when he's not here, right?
correct.
Sounds like a good job for Foster.
I was trying to figure out who's been on the board the longest. I mean,
Probably me,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know. I would just think that
you or
like,
I.
it would kind of start with seniority.
But it
I-
doesn't,
No,
if
no,
if
no,
you
I don't
really
know.
wanna go for it,
I don't wanna do it, I've been here so
You know what I mean? Don't worry about the seniority.
Well, just, you know.
Not gonna hurt my feelings.
Correct.
Yeah,
I nominate Foster.
Sure.
Alright,
second.
okay.
Does anybody else need to be nominated? Do we need to vote on it then?
Yeah.
All those in favor of Foster as a vice chair for the board, I guess say aye.
Aye.
There you go.
I'm abstaining.
There you go. Now we have one less thing to do for the year.
Very good.
Deal. Is there anything else that, unscheduled wise before, so we still probably be able to get that full committee, whether it's in March or whatever it is together. Would be good. But just keep in mind if any of the other groups for some reason need to get together before baseball season or any other kind of a season. Maybe with, cause we still have a ball field committee, or am I imagining something? I know we have pool
I
and.
think that would just probably fall under recreation.
Doesn't it rec-
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
recreation really
Rec and
doesn't.
programming, planning, pool, budget. Budget hardly does anything, because we all have to deal with it.
Yeah, we pretty much are transparent and give everybody all the information.
Yeah, appreciate it. Excellent.
Alright.
Any other business? Are we ready to close it for the night?
We're ready to close it up.
Alright. 7:07.